Next, we will hear from California Foodlink, the state of California. And our two presenters are Ken Grayson, the administrator of the Food Assistance Program of the California Department of Social Services, and Emily Katz, the Vice President of Development for California Emergency Foodlink. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
You may proceed.
Foodlink is a private nonprofit organization that we're here to talk about for a couple of brief minutes today. It's a private nonprofit agency that was co-founded by the California State Department of Social Services and John Healy, who was a successful food bank director in California. This agency was founded because we desperately needed to improve our public service in California, and in particular our public food service. We discovered the problems in delivering our public services at the same time that the government was decreasing its available resources. The federal government was cutting back on the available surplus food products and severely reducing the administrative monies available to state programs. We've lost over 50% of the available food products and over 50% of the available administrative monies for the food assistance program nationwide and also in California. So this is a problem that every state in the nation will face, and not just California. We had to make some very fundamental changes in the way that we administered our program in order to accommodate these governmental changes and to meet the increasing public need. We also had to devise a way, without any increased funds, to come up with more food for this program on a statewide basis, and to come up with the income to support these changes and improve service deliveries. Since these changes could not readily occur within our department, we're not structured to make immediate decisions and solicit private donations and hire people off the street that are welfare recipients that are homeless in order to do the increased packaging and the increased storage and delivery that's necessary. That's why we needed Foodlink. We need an organization that was supported, facilitated, co-founded by a state department that had some ability to help them get founded, make immediate decisions, not 6 months. We wouldn't have to go through the agency, through the governor's office, in order to buy a truck, or in order to receive a donation of food, or in order to repack it. One of the first programs that we implemented immediately after forming Foodlink was called Donate, Don't Dump. This is a program that allowed California agribusiness, from the farmer to the retailer, to donate food products that otherwise would go unused. I think I'll let Emily tell you about that.
Thank you. I work with the nonprofit arm, California Emergency Foodlink, which they help found and still help fund with the remaining money that the state gets through the federal food assistance program. We have essentially a three-part mission of feeding the poor by generating donated food supplies and getting them out to food banks statewide, of getting poor people out of the food lines and into the workforce, and so helping solve the hunger problem in that way, and at the same time to develop independent, self-generated sources of funding to keep our agency going when the federal funding isn't available anymore and when the state budget is in a tight crunch and also can't come up with the money. That's been part of the goal of the Department of Social Services, to get us off their welfare rolls as well as an agency. We achieve all of these three goals together by providing on-the-job paid job training for some of the hardest to place clients in our state. We applied for and got over 500,000 square feet of warehousing on a surplus Army base in our area. We have used that space and leveraged that space in order to expand our food distribution of donations statewide, which have expanded from a 3 million pound a year donations program when we started 3 years ago to a 20 million pound a year donations program now, using less federal resources, getting more food to the poor. We've expanded from an agency with a startup job training program with no pay run through the community college to a paid job training program for 50 of our area's hardest to place people on welfare, the homeless, people coming out of prison, and at-risk youth. These are the accomplishments that we have made, and I'm ready to take any questions to elaborate.
Well timed. Jack Rosenthal.
It's an impressive list of different accomplishments. Hiring the working poor, donate, don't dump, developing the depot for real estate profit. What I'm having trouble getting a hold of is, what is the innovation? What is the specific?
The innovation is that we exist. That's basically the innovation. The state had a choice. All the states in this union have a choice. They have a choice to watch federal funding disappear for their program that buys surplus farm commodities, repackages them, and distributes them to the poor, and to stop distributing that food to agencies, and to stop working with the food banks that they've been working with and supplementing them with these food supplies, or to look for an alternative, for a way to improve, expand, and especially continue services of donated food, of a steady source of food supplies for the agencies that are out there feeding the poor on the front lines. So that's essentially the innovation. Then on top of that, and it's not hard to find, well, it might be hard. One might be able to recruit a nonprofit willing to undertake this task, but can the nonprofit survive without federal funding when that had constituted 100% of their funding? And we have been able, by providing warehousing services to the corporate sector, employing people, homeless people and others to do that, to generate money to operate our own program as well, to generate revenue which we use to continue the food distribution to the poor. So it's a two-part.
Let me say one quick thing, Mr. Rosenthal. In less than 2 years, Foodlink has been able to generate an equivalent amount to half of what it costs to run the food assistance program in the state of California. And if we continue to grow at our current rate, it will be entirely independent of any governmental funds and any taxpayer dollars, period. And yet the citizens statewide in California will continue to receive over 20 million pounds of food delivered to them every week free of charge in California. We'd like to see that occur in some of the other states.
Don McHenry.
The program, as you describe it, seems to work quite well in California. What do you do in Podunk Center, where you don't have those kinds of resources?
We've been approached by other organizations. Obviously, the ability to generate our own revenue, to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars with which to operate, is quite appealing to other agencies facing the same dilemma. And, you know, other state agencies might have an interest in any state. There are always donated resources that can be leveraged. And other food banks that have gotten property through the McKinney Act like we have, and that are thinking about creative ways to face their upcoming challenges, have also approached us, and we are working with them already, in fact, to help replicate some of the warehousing services component of our program, and actually referring some of the same corporate clients that we service for them to service in their part of the country.
Tom?
Well, I have two quick questions. One, a variation of what Don had just asked you about the replicability of the program. And one of the things that Don't Dump would seem to me somewhat unique to California. Have people talked to you about that aspect of your program in terms of its replicability in other states? The fact that California is such a big producing state?
It's generally what it is. It's a large-scale gleaning program. It does gleaning instead of on the individual level. It goes to the packers, the manufacturers, and the producers. You have those in many of the states of California.
Including the warehousing, which seems to be kind of one of the interesting things that you did. I mean, that's available in other states, too.
Yes, anywhere where there is a federal property that's being shut down.
Or state or county.
Or state or county.
Lastly, you seem to have some problem with second harvest. Have you worked that out?
We service Second Harvest extensively. They are one of our major clients, and there's nothing like free food to win someone over by the hundreds of thousands of pounds, by the millions of pounds. So, I mean, you know, you saw it was sort of detailed in our report. But yeah, in general, we keep supplying the food and they keep taking it, and that's the bottom line.
Antonia?
I like to understand this program. It's a state program implemented by a non-for-profit, and the goal of the state is to make sure that this program is taken over by a non-for-profit, and that would be success.
It was co-founded by the California State Department of Social Services, whose director is standing against the wall over there. And yes, our goal is to privatize this program.